I call you Rose? Can I call you? 'Cause you're sweet like a flower in bloom. Can I call you Rose? Can I call you Rose? Can I call you? 'Cause your fragrance takes over the room. Can I call you?
This is the intro to our documentary, A Police Officer's Perspective.
Today, we're going to be showing you a first-hand account of what it's like to be a police officer.
Hell yeah.
Since 2020, the public's perception of police officers has greatly diminished due to corruption, police brutality, and overall negative acts performed by police officers.
Police stations, and now what we are seeing across the country is violence surging right now in many areas. Just yesterday, we had politicians getting carjacked in some cities. So we are continuing to follow everything for you right here on Live Now from Fox. But let's break it all down on what some of these politicians are doing right now. After George Floyd's death at the hands of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin in the summer of 2020 ignited a wave of protest across the country calling for major overhauls in the U.S. criminal justice system. The phrase defund the police not only became a rallying cry, but served as a litmus test separating moderates from the progressive left.
Now it's probably the biggest thing is the perception of law enforcement from the community is way different. In a lot of places, a lot of the incidents that you're seeing on the news, relationships with law enforcement and the community has been stressed over many years. So we're very lucky locally that we have a good community relationship with law enforcement and the community, but all communities don't have that. So when you see folks wedding police officers in uniform or setting their cars on fire, all of those things, that's the reality now of being in law enforcement, that you have to be aware of at all times. Other things are, we're all, gung-ho, we're out to beat people up and, do all the fun stuff in law enforcement. And really the thing that you will learn is 99.9% of law enforcement are just like all of us sitting in this room. Normal folks. Do we have our bad apples? Do we have some rogue folks? We sure do. But I promise you, we're harder on those folks than anybody outside law enforcement because they make us all look bad. One bad apple in a department of JSO's, 1,800 people? One bad apple makes the whole department look bad. So we have to police our own. So, or that we lie for, I should have said it different, that we lie for, each other. We got each other's back for the, let somebody go up and hit you upside the head and we're going to, that's not the way it works. If you mess up, we're going to hold you accountable, and you're going to pay the consequences for that. But a lot of that is still just perceptions of law enforcement. So we deal with that still, even as a security professional now, quasi military law enforcement. We still deal with that even with my guys. So,
Are there any pros or cons to the occupation?
well, I believe there's a lot of pros. The salary has really improved from my days. They really requiring education, and that's been the attempt over the last 15, 20 years, is to enhance the career, i.e. requiring a college degree, some type of degree to help you with that. You'll see a lot of folks with multiple degrees in law enforcement, and you have that to fall back on for your advancement through for promotion. There's a lot of educational side of it now in teaching in schools, teaching that opportunity if you like to teach and work with young folks, bringing them into the profession. And that's probably one of the nicest things. My best memories as law enforcement is being a field training officer and seeing that all the guys that I trained that are now leadership, have gone on for chiefs of police, those type of things. So not only that, there's such a wide realm of activities that you can do in law enforcement. If you like CSI on TV, that would be intriguing to me. I did traffic homicide. I did SWAT. You can do so many different things, many different avenues. You can be an investigator, homicides, burglaries. There's so many different things that you can get into to see what your niche is and what you want to do. So even in a small department that I came from at Jack's Beach, 65-man department, but we were a mini JSO. We had all those activities and I was allowed to do that. So pros, a lot more than cons. I think, to follow up on what I said earlier, the con is public perception right now on a lot of agencies. I don't think it's that permissive on our local. When I say the state of Florida, we've got a really nice support from the governor on down in our state government, but all of the chiefs and the powers to be in our local agencies really support law enforcement and provide them everything that they need to keep us safe. So I'll leave it at that.
Law enforcement is a 24/7 job. There are various shifts throughout the day, meaning that administrative teams need to create schedules that give all around the clock coverage. With that being said, not all police officer schedules look the same.
First responders, you hear a lot of us talk, we eat, breathe, and sleep it because we're always on call. So that's probably the biggest thing that I had to get used to, is that I was on call 24/7. I've left my children, my family, sitting at parties, family events, holidays. You sort of lose that privilege as a first responder in any realm of a first response. So you lose. Probably the biggest thing on duty is if you get to eat, you get to eat. If you don't, you don't. You're on the go. So many a time sitting at a restaurant or ordering, got to go. Come back and get it, or call them and let them know I'm not coming back. So little things like that is probably the biggest difference.
Agencies are losing police officers faster than they can hire new ones. In fact, the number of police officers per 100,000 residents is the lowest it has been since the 1990s.
Tonight, though, we will break down why Cape Coral is far from the only law enforcement agency enduring this, as some cities all across the U.S. are calling the shortage of officers a crisis.
Scripps national reporter Amber Strong talked to officers and the head of the Police Chiefs Union to find out just why and what can be done about this.
From firefighters to public school teachers to sanitation workers, public sector hiring has seen a steady decline since the start of the pandemic. But there's one profession that's become a particular concern nationwide: law enforcement officers. And the hiring woes have been building for years. A survey of police departments in 2019 found that nearly 80% of agencies reported struggles with hiring qualified recruits. Half of the agencies said they changed internal policies and qualifications to get more candidates.
I think we've seen this problem growing steadily over the last, say, 10 years or so, but it really ramped up post-COVID.
4% fewer officers were hired in 2021 than in 2019, and departments across the country saw 47% more resignations and 19% more retirements in 2022 compared to 2019, according to a survey of police chiefs by the Police Executive Research Forum.
Heard that first day, we're always learning, right? So I think back the first day I was a cop and, I was afraid to even drive, just so many things going on.
Being a police officer is a very mentally taxing job.
Police officers are 4 times more likely to get less than 6 hours of sleep a day than the rest of the public.
They're also twice as likely to have depression than the general population.
There's a stigma in our profession where we don't want to share or talk about our feelings.
The NBC4i team first investigating the issue of mental health inside LAPD earlier this month. More than 600 LAPD officers responded to our exclusive survey about the impact of stress on the job and why it's so hard to reach out for help. 78% say they worry about being seen as unfit for duty. 67% in the survey are concerned about putting their jobs at risk.